screaming heavy metal! We rock!
But the evil that men do lives on.
We gonna bang your head!
You are now listening to Music Mania, the #1 hard rock podcast in the Midwest, featuring hard-hitting interviews with rock's living legends. And now, here are your hosts, the Twins of Chaos, Clint, Switzer, and Paul Lagana.
We are going to be up all night here on the Music Mania podcast just so we can sleep all day. Clint, Switzer, Paul Lagana joining you here. Thanks so much for listening, for downloading, for subscribing, for all the wonderful comments you guys leave us. We thank you for that. And we are going to be welcoming Mark Slaughther to the show this week, Paul. Huge guest. Man, I'll tell you what, from Vinnie Vincent Invasion to Slaughther, that's just been a very consistent band that started in the early 90s. Slaughther's been around, still out there touring. They just sold out the Scene Rock Bar in Kansas City. Going to be great to catch up with our buddy Mark Slaughther, man.
No doubt about it, Clint. A legendary band in my mind, actually, Slaughther. The hits in the late 80s, early 90s, just incredible, kind of shaped a little bit of the music scene back then. And now also, Mark Slaughther has a solo record coming out May 26th called Halfway There.
Yeah, and it's really good. I mean, go to his website, markslaughther.com. You can check out the single that's posted up there. And May 26th, the entire album's coming out, and we want to encourage everybody to go pre-order that.
Right.
Really going to be
great
interested
single,
to talk.
like you
said. Yeah, Hey You
Yep.
is a great single, and I think that this is a big deal for Mark because he's always been just such a solid force in the music industry. You know, Slaughther has done so many tours. They've been out there consistently since they formed in 1989. They've done a lot of shows. They've toured with a lot of people, and now Mark kind of putting out a solo album while his band members are touring with Vince Neil, doing a lot of shows with Vince Neil. Of course, Vince Neil's solo band is Slaughther, basically minus Mark. So he's doing this solo thing. He's got some solo shows coming up, but Slaughther, of course, going to be tearing it up this summer too. They're going to be at the Mohegan Sun on May 18th and May 26th, where we will catch them at the Rocklahoma Festival.
You know it, buddy. Slaughther will be playing Friday night, May 26th, Clint, and we will be there.
The question always becomes, each year we go to Rocklahoma, is do we have the energy for the 3-day festivals again? Last year we braved it, we did it, we got it done. This year it's coming up again, Rocklahoma, and Slaughther's a band. If anything was made for Rocklahoma, it's Slaughther. They were there, the very first one in 07 when I saw them, and here we go again. Slaughther going to be on Friday night with Def Leppard. I believe also Fozzie's that day. There's going to be Pretty Reckless, 3 Days Grace. Going to be some bands, but hey, do we have it in us? We got to do that. It's Rocklahoma.
It's a road trip for the ages, man.
That's why we do this.
We'll be there.
Well, I'll tell you what, it is our pleasure to go ahead and bring on our guest at this time. It is Mr. Mark Slaughther. Welcome to the Music Mania podcast. How is everything going in your world, brother?
It is going great, man, and it's going really, really well.
Well,
how about you?
Oh, we're doing great. You know, spring's here. The summer concerts are coming. This is the best time of year and our busiest season, as I know it is yours for you personally and for the band. But, I mean, let's talk about this album, Halfway There. It's coming out May 26th. The single, Hey You, is just a great song. What a straight-ahead rock song it is. Just talk about kind of the process of this album and, you know, kind of the reception you've heard from it so far. And you got to just be looking forward to getting this thing out there to the world, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I wrote and produced the whole thing in my home studio and played, most of the instruments on it. I had a guest bass player on half the record, and Josh Egan played drums on the whole thing, which did a phenomenal job. And it turned out great. I mean, it was made for vinyl. It was made for an actual record. So the good side of it is that it is. It was made for that classic sensibility of putting side A or side B. And, I think that's what's missing in this world is just treating it like art instead of just throwing a bunch of demos out there. This is an actual rock record for that reason.
And that's kind of the generation we live in, is sort of, an ADHD generation that wants to listen to songs only on YouTube. You just get one song here or there, and that's what I like about this concept. And I mean, do you see that kind of being a thing? I mean, I think people from I'm just going to lump us all into the same age group, if you don't mind, and in our era that appreciates kind of the veteran mentality. I mean, do you think that other bands are going to kind of stick to this too? Because you see a lot of bands releasing stuff on vinyl. Fans still want it, don't day? I mean, they don't want to just click on and listen to a single.
Well, it is now physical sales is 25% of the physical sales. But, it's not like enough for a lot of people to really take that as, I'm going to make a record for vinyl. A lot of times people just do it, and then if it's too long, they separate it into 4 records because it's too long, But I really wanted it to be a good record, like the stuff that I grew up with, that you could put on both sides, and it kind of takes you on a journey. You put your headphones on, and you get lost in the way. And I think that's the key point of this. Is it's a classic rock type record, but it also has the sensibility of today's recording process. It was done in today's standards in the right way.
Well, and is this album must be just kind of a personal journey for you. I mean, releasing it as a solo album under the name Mark Slaughther, and what caused you to do that instead of releasing it under just the Slaughther moniker? You went with a solo album. Is this just kind of more of a personal journey for you, and just kind of want to keep it on your own banner? I mean, what was the process?
It is, and it was more of my personal journey. I mean, my band's been out playing with Vince Neil. It's a solo band, so they're out doing that. When they're doing that, I kind of just focused in on what is important to me, which is to make a record full of songs and art that would live a long time. I mean, this is not, again, like I said, it's not a demo mentality. I recorded these things properly. I wrote the songs properly. And as they're from front to end, it's a good rock and roll record that, I'm very proud to say that it'll stand up to anything I've done in the past.
And, that's not just lip service. I know that's something a lot of artists say. It's something a lot of artists talk about. What I've listened to, it absolutely blew me away. It's almost like it exceeded my expectations. Because a lot of things pass my door, pass by me. I listen to a lot of things, a lot of new albums. This is really good stuff. And guys, make sure you go to markslaughther.com. You can get all the details on how to order that. It comes out May 26th, so it's coming right up. But you guys in Slaughther are still on the road. Of course, this summer got a lot of dates, and you just sold out right here in Kansas City, man. The Scene Rock Bar, great show just a couple weeks ago, and you guys are going out doing some big dates. You got, I think you got Mohegan Sun coming up, and of course, Rocklahoma. What would be Rocklahoma without Slaughther? You guys have been at several of these events too.
Absolutely. Well, okay, we're out there. We're constant. We're still in the marketplace, and Slaughther has been going since 1990 is when our first record came out, and we've been able to tour with all the greats, Kiss, Ozzy Osbourne, etc. And we're very lucky. We're very blessed, and on that side of it, again, whether it be a giant arena, a big festival, or an intimate club. I mean, we love to make music. We love to take people down that memory lane, and we don't run from it. We still play the hits, and that's what's important.
No doubt about it, Mark. And actually, take us back a little bit before Slaughther to Vinnie Vincent's Invasions, because I've always been kind of curious about that band. You played on the All Systems Go with Dana Strum. Just tell us what it was like to work with Vinnie, and maybe because there's a rumor going around that he's kind of a recluse right now. I mean, what is he up to these days? Have you heard anything from him?
I have not heard anything from him. I walked off the stage with Vinnie in 1988, and I have not spoken to him since. But he's an incredible, talented guy. And I wish him well in wherever he's at or whatever he does. But again, it's all about making music, and this guy should be making music. He shouldn't be sitting by the roadside. I mean, he should be out there doing it. But I wish him well, and I had some great memories of the Vinnie Vincent Invasion. Dana Strum and I, ended up getting our roots in that side of it with the record label to establish my actual career on that side. So again, a lot of great memories, a lot of good stuff, but glad to be moving on.
And this led, of course, to Slaughther forming in 1989, and you released your first album, of course, Stick It To You in 1990. Featuring some huge singles. I mean, you had Up All Night, you had Fly to the Angels, and Mad About You. What an album that was! It came out in 1990. You guys were formed in the Vegas area, which is kind of different. Of course, a lot of the scene was going on in LA at the time. Just kind of talk about the inception of Slaughther forming in the Vegas area and sort of the process of recording that first album, because that just ignited you guys so much, and the video hits, MTV, you guys were everywhere.
Absolutely. Well, what happened is we made the record. And again, it's very different from our band to a lot of other ones, because Dana and I are the ones who wrote, produced, and still today perform those songs live. So it's one of, we're the only band from our genre that does that and did that. So I'm very proud to say that's where we came from, what we do. And again, it's been a great journey along the way, and we've met a lot of great bands along the way. And again, I feel truly blessed to still be able to do this.
You talk about the timing of Stick It To Ya, because that came out in 1990. Of course, hair metal was still kind of ruling the charts, and I always use that term tongue-in-cheek with quotations in my fingers, hair metal, just for lack of a better term. But it was in 1990 when the scene was kind of diminishing in LA. Talk about just like the timing of Stick It In Ya, and then of course, your debut came out in 90, your follow-up came out in 92. Sorry, so. Talk about the timing of those albums and just kind of like at the tail end of the metal era and kind of transitioning into grunge, just kind of where that put Slaughther at that time.
Well, again, it did do its transition, and it did change. And, again, it's all about songs. And, it's no different in the grunge side of it or any side of it. Songs will always be songs. And the bands that were through the grunge era are the ones that, the bands that actually had songs. Nirvana had songs. Soundgarden had songs. Alice in Chains had songs. Slaughther had songs. Motley Crue had songs. Those are the ones that stuck with people, along the way. So that's how I see it. Is that it all begins and ends with the song.
No doubt about it, Mark. And just talk a little bit about Tim Kelly, if you would. He was your guitar player, passed away in 98. How did that affect the band, and how did it affect you personally?
Well, we weren't even sure if we were going to carry on. It was one of those things to go, well, what are we going to do now? And, when you lose, a friend first and foremost, and second of all, a business partner, it definitely affects you. It affects anybody. And, but, we decided to keep, the music was important. We decided to go forward with it, and we've been doing it ever since that time.
And, I tell you, Slaughther's always been one of those bands, and I know that was a big blow and a death to the band. You've had some moving parts, in the band, but Slaughther's always been one of those bands that seems to be relatively drama-free. You don't have a behind the music where you beat up Dana Strum in a back alley and, in Hollywood. It might have actually happened. This is just off the top of my head. I don't know any info.
No, everybody kept their heads pretty much together. We're just guys. Really, I always look at it as we're the guys that just go out and make music because we love to make music. And those are the things that matter, are those people who make music for the right reasons instead of for the monetary side of it. And I think people hear that in our music, they know that in our music, and it's very honest, and that's the key. The honesty prevails.
What does it say about the era that you come from, that kind of late 80s and the songs, early 90s, the songs that you guys had, that you can still go out there, you still play these songs, you've got a lot of hits, people, come out to see you guys, come out to see a lot of bands that's still around from the era, you've still got so many bands out there doing it. And what does that say about that era? To me, there's nothing like, the 80s on into the early 90s. I just don't think you could ever replicate that scene from LA that went national. What does that say about that you guys can still go up there, play these songs, and people just still dig it so much, and in big crowds, big festivals, like you said, small venues, doesn't matter, you guys are out there doing it. That's just so cool.
Well, it's about, again, we're lucky that it connected the way it connected. That's the key. And again, it's the songs, it's the things that people can really honestly identify with. And our music has been a part of the soundtrack to many people's lives, just as the music that I grew up with became my soundtrack. So, I think that's part of what we're seeing is people are going, man, I always loved that, and that was always awesome, and da-da-da-da-da, and that's the key, that it's a part of where your environment was for the sands of time. You click over that hourglass, and all of a sudden it takes you back to that moment of where you were, what you were doing, and what you were listening to.
Absolutely, Mark, and it's funny you should say that because I'm pretty much your age, and Boy, I'll tell you what, man. Up All Night, when that came out, I was about 22, and it was unbelievable. And to, be able to go out and still see you guys, it's just a treat.
It's surreal, yeah. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's been a great journey, and the journey continues, and the music continues, and on the solo side of it, again, I'm still making music. It's not like I'm saying this is it and Slaughther's breaking up. It's just like Paul Stanley going away from Kiss and doing his own solo thing. If you're an artist, you create art, and that's truly it. I am doing some solo shows this year, but for the most part, I'm just really again focused on the music of the past and doing music that really connects to people.
Well, and guys, I want everybody to go to markslaughter.com, get all the info on the Slaughther tour, the solo shows, the new album, which is going to be released here May 26th. It's halfway there. And you can tweet at markslaughter33. Do you do a lot of tweeting, Mark? I mean, could you ever have thought something like that was possible? Like, that's kind of crazy.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. Well, look, it's crazy in the possibilities of the drummer tracked the drums in a totally different state than I was in. He tracked it in California, and I tracked all my stuff here at the farm in Tennessee. So, I mean, the technology side, if used in the right way, I think adds to creativity instead of diminishing it. So that's certainly something that I feel,
And when it comes to social media, the fact that you can make these connections, I mean, can you imagine growing up and being able to turn on a computer and, tweet Ace Frehley or someone and and maybe even get a response? I mean, that's just kind of crazy. The way that bands are able to connect with fans is just so different now. And I mean, it might take away some of the mystery away, but I think it adds so much when you're talking about just connecting with a fan base. I mean, I think it's really cool.
It does. And it is very cool. And again, I embraced it. I think it's awesome. And again, as time changes, change is inevitable. So, all you can do is slow it to change and conform to change, but at the same time, keeping your integrity. And that's certainly what I think people will see with what I've done in the solo project as well as with Slaughther.
Well, Mark, we're really looking forward to the release of the album. Of course, we've got to preview it. It's so good, guys. Hey You, wonderful single. You can go check that out. It's actually on the website right now, markslaughter.com. You can listen to the single, Hey You, pre-order the album. It's all there, May 26th, coming right up. Hey, Mark, I'll tell you what, we'll catch up. We're going to come flag you down in the media tent at Rocklahoma and say hello because, long time coming in, long time fans. Great to have you on the show, and we're just so happy for you and this new album and all the success, man. It's very cool.
Hey, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that, and thanks for supporting not only my music but all of rock and roll, because it's all one and the same. And just like you, I'm a music fan of it all, and just really glad to be a part of it all.
Hey, Mark, cannot thank you enough for your time. We'll catch you at Rocklahoma, and have a great show at Mohegan Sun coming up here on the 18th. And we'll catch you soon, my man. Thank you so much.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. And when you get a chance and you listen to the record, make sure to reach out and tell me what your favorite tracks are.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Mark.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.
You bet.
Bye.
You too.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mark Slaughther, the band Slaughther, and Clint. He was as personable as anybody we've talked to, man.
I agree with you. Just such a down-to-earth guy, and someone that's always been kind of labeled that way. Just a very respected musician, a guy that's been very consistent in his career. Slaughther, of course, their first album came out in 1990. I really like the work he did. I love the Vinnie Vincent and Invasion album, All Systems Go. He talked about working with Vinnie. Obviously, things didn't quite end very well with Vinnie, and as I suspected, he hasn't talked to Vinnie since he walked off the stage on their last show in 1988.
Right.
And that just says more about Vinnie than it does Mark, because obviously Vinnie Vincent's been somewhat of a recluse for years. He's one of the most hard to figure out, where are they now, rockers of all time. Mm-hmm. People still don't really know.
What a legend, though, man. I mean, he
brilliant
worked
guitarist.
With Kiss.
Well, of course, he was a Hankin Warrior. I mean, Vinnie Vincent had some brilliant stuff in Kiss and on the Lick It Up album and Creatures of the Night and
No doubt.
But, it is what it is. Mark continues his career. Guys, go check out his website, markslaughter.com, for all the details. You can get that new album, which is very good, by the way.
Halfway there.
Hey, I love this. I'm just really happy for Mark to put this out. He doesn't want to wait around. Didn't want to make it just a Slaughther album because the bandmates are out doing other things for a while. So, hey, he makes this a personal journey for him. Good for Mark. And send him a tweet at Mark Slaughther 33, and he'd probably be glad to get back to you. And guys, this is the Music Mania podcast. This is why you listen for guests just like this. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what other guests you want us to bring on, what other bands can we talk about. We want to do it right here because this is why we do it for you guys. No matter how much you make fun of us, no matter how many times they call you my side prick and me the icicle, hey, this is why we do it. For these people, for these fans, because we love this era. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
No doubt, and they're actually referencing Top Gun, I believe. So, hey, man,
it could be worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they didn't call me Charlie.
Again, though, everybody get out, see a show, man. Again, spring going into summer. So many bands support these guys because they're playing for us from the 80s until now. A lot of them are still out there, so they absolutely appreciate it.
If you're going to be on your way to Rocklahoma, as we are, hit us up. Send us a tweet at musicmania_show. Come visit us on Facebook, Music Mania Podcast, and drop us a line. We'd love to talk to you. Love to talk to all kinds of rock fans, and maybe even have you on for a little interview. We'd like to talk to all you guys.
Interact with everybody.
Hey, hit that download button. Hit that subscribe button. We thank you guys for joining us. Music Mania Podcast. Clint, Switzer, and Paul Agana out for now, but not for good.